Ladies and gentlemen, I believe a New York jury will acquit Trump. I know that sounds very bizarre. I mean, it's a New York jury. They just are desperate. It's going to be like a DC jury with the Durham probe. There's no way they're going to acquit him. And I think that they will acquit him for three primary reasons. Number one, if it's just the campaign finance issue, there is no campaign finance issue. I explained in my last couple of segments that within the legal statute, it says personal expenditures. Personal expenditures are not a violation of the law from the FEC's perspective. If he wanted to keep that information from his wife or family, it's not an issue. They also have to prove that he had the romantic relationship with Stormy. They have to prove that Trump told Michael Cohen to pay the $130,000. I do believe if they try to add other charges, that Trump has to be careful. They will acquit pertaining to the campaign finance issue. You might say, well, what do you know? How do you know it? I think that they will because the precedent there is John Edwards, Hillary Clinton, was just fined FEC violation for purchasing the Steele dossier. So, I mean, there's a two-tiered justice system. If you're a Democrat, if you're Hunter, you can have endless crimes within that laptop. New York Post can document absolute felonies, okay? The New York Post has documented specific crimes Hunter committed, and there's banking transactions that were investigated by the financial institutions, 150 of them. Hunter hasn't been indicted yet. Hillary Clinton had servers with top secret intel, siphoned outside the U.S. government. I believe Hillary will be the 24 nominee. But no reasonable prosecutor would indict, and you can hear the Honorable James Comey's words short on this channel, 30,000 views. So you can see him. It's the Honorable James Comey saying no reasonable prosecutor would indict. They are going to go after Trump for public relations purposes. That's why they waited 7 years to go back into the well of all the accusations and find one thing that they could go after Trump. The only reason they're going after Trump, and I was going to do a live stream on this, but I want to just do this upload and then another upload in a couple of hours. The reason they're going after Trump with the Stormy issue and indicting him is because it's a state-level crime. You can't be, it's a state-level indictment. It's an indictment from New York, and you can't get pardoned for a state charge, but also the issue of whether he actually had the romantic relationship is at play. So in terms of the legal statute with the FEC and the precedent with Clinton and John Edwards, there is no crime that he committed, okay? Everyone knows that they're trying to desperately get him. Michael Cohen is a convicted felon. So the defense is going to say, well, Michael Cohen is a convicted felon. He was charged and prosecuted and convicted on tax fraud. Okay, millions upon millions of dollars that he didn't pay. Okay, because of a failed taxi business. Avenatti now is in prison. Stormy has her own issues in terms of credibility. Stormy initially also stated that she didn't have a romantic relationship. Okay? Then there's the National Enquirer. They don't know without a shadow of a doubt if Stormy and Trump had. I think that they did have the romantic relationship, but there's no way to prove that right now. Hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen. To my super thanks, thank you very, very much. There's a super thanks to the last segment. I'm going to thank you, and I will thank you absolutely within the comments section. But they're going to acquit Trump, number one, because the legal statute states that if it's a personal expenditure because you want to circumvent embarrassment, not a crime. Number two, Michael Cohen is a convicted felon. Stormy has her issues. The National Enquirer, other publications can't prove without a shadow of a doubt that he did have the romantic relationship. Now, if they can prove that, I think it's a big problem for Trump, because then they're going to try to get him to say in a court of law, to state categorically whether or not he did have the relationship. So I don't know how exactly that's going to work. Okay, I don't know if he could plead the fifth with that. So if you're an attorney below, I don't know how the court or how the prosecution is going to try to force former President Trump to admit whether or not he had the romantic relationship. The issue with Michael Cohen is that he's going to have to prove, even if they say, well, he was told to pay that money, Michael Cohen has to prove that they had the romantic relationship. Trump might say, well, you know what? It was for something completely different. It was for a something completely different, and you can't prove that it was a romantic relationship, so there you go. I mean, you have actual crimes and felonies and banking transactions and millions upon millions of dollars and quid pro quo pay-to-play schemes, kickbacks. You have servers with top secret intel siphoned onto them. You have major national security crimes and issues, okay? Forcing out a prosecutor because Hunter was on the board of directors and having that country invaded while Democrats are in charge. So I don't think the jury, when given all the evidence, is going to have this case where they send Trump to jail. I think it's jail time, not prison time. But let's say, I don't think they're going to send a former president to prison with the evidence they currently have. Okay, because there is no categorical proof. So if there's no categorical proof that Stormy and Trump had a romantic relationship, I don't know how they get him on any other charge. Because the campaign finance violation, there is no campaign finance violation. There is none. The legal statute literally states that if it's an expense, you could see it below. If it's an expenditure that's of personal nature, not a crime. Okay. Also, the prosecution is going to have to prove that one vote would be altered from Trump and Stormy's relationship out in the open. If anything, he'd gain votes in 2016. He'll gain votes in 24. He'll gain votes indicted. There's nothing that Democrats can do to prevent him from gaining votes. Everyone knows that Democrats cover up the criminality in their political side. Even Democrats know this. If you corner and kind of confront a wonderful, morally superior Democratic partisan, say, well, what about the uranium one? I mean, $100+ million in the Clinton Foundation. You can't prove anything. They know that money flows went into Hunter's accounts, the Clinton Foundation, and then beneficial treatment took place. There was no signed, admission of guilt. Here, there's money flow to, and this is the only thing really they could get Trump on. There's money flow to Stormy, but it's through Michael Cohen, a convicted felon. So who knows if he's telling the truth? From a defense position, who knows if he's telling the truth? So I do think that Trump had the relationship, but I think it's going to be very difficult to prove that he did. Furthermore, I'm not sure if he can be forced to admit that he did. And if they can't get him on anything else other than the campaign finance violation, it'll be an acquittal. Because you're going to have to rely on very shady, corrupt characters. Okay, one actress, one convicted felon, a publication that publishes, Loch Ness Monster had a baby with, Godzilla. And Trump comes out victorious in 24. indicted or unindicted, but I think this week he will be indicted, and his poll numbers will go through the roof because they understand it's purely political, and they want this man so desperately. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Thank you.